your point, it's too expensive for the injury history, and they have other wide receivers.
You bring him into a team like Green Bay. You don't need him to play 17 weeks. What you need him is to be great December on. That's the advantage to being a great team, is that like Tampa Bay this year, Leonard Fournette didn't need to be great all the time. They had other weapons, or Gronk. But Gronk, will you be good in the playoffs? So a great team doesn't need regular season excellence. Kansas City with Sammy Watkins. Dude, just show up in the playoffs like you always do. So for Julio Jones, if he can go to a good team, to play 12 games and be a perfect fit. Enjoy with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
God, we are.
Well, yeah, I mean, being excellent can garner you some loyalty.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's not romantic to talk about loyalty so flippantly. Like when you say loyalty, like that's something that really stirs people emotionally.
Right.
And fans are supposed to be loyal, and they're loyal to their team, so they have some expectation that players are supposed to be loyal back. But at the end of the day, Steph gets a paycheck to play basketball, so therefore that is his business. And everybody moves around in business.
Yeah.
You never worked at one job your entire life.
Be loyal to your kids and your wife and friends.
Yeah,
There's
your family and your friends.
Dog. I'm loyal to my dogs.
Sure.
I ignore other dogs in their presence. But I'm not going to be loyal to, as a basketball player, to an owner who is moving in his stocks every day.
Well, yeah, I mean, and they're a great organization. It's not like this is, a dysfunctional situation. But the idea of loyalty is a bit, it's over-dramatized when it comes to professional sports. So the Grizzlies won last night's first play-in game to keep their season alive. They beat the Spurs 196. Jonas Valanciunas got hot early at 23 points and a season-high 23 rebounds. Dylan Brooks and John Morant also had strong performances, 24 and 20 points each. And they will now face the Warriors for the final playoff spot in the West on Friday night. Spurs missed the playoffs for the second straight season.
Yeah.
It's the first time in franchise history that they failed to make the playoffs in back-to-back seasons. That's pretty remarkable.
Also, they shoot the fewest threes in the league. That is a little bit of arrogance.
It's problematic.
Yeah, when you are saying, we do not adapt to the current NBA model, say what you want, but this is the arrogance of Popovich. I know better than everybody. It's like, bruh, you don't even make the playoffs in a sport where half the teams do now.
Well, it's become a trend. I mean, you have 2 seasons in a row now. This is they've never missed back-to-back.
Yeah,
the playoffs from back-to-back seasons.
And I'm not somebody that lives and dies with analytics. On this show, I call them manalytics. I like them, but these are humans. I'm not going to reduce everybody to code. Like, I need my guys to be guys and feel good about themselves and not be a number. Baseball managers now, they don't even manage. The GM manages. I'm not into that. But there are certain things you need to do, which is, there's some analytics in football where you really should go for it on 4th and 2. The minute you pass midfield, just go for it. The analytics tell you you're going to make it as much as you don't, and it's not going to be punitive. You need to shoot threes. You need to crank them up.
Well, the game has changed at every level.
Yeah.
Youth all the way up through professional. So it's time to update it. The Warriors are 3.5-point favorites over the Grizzlies, according to Fox Bet.
That's about right.
I would go with the Warriors in this game, but I do think it's going to be a very competitive game.
Yeah, no, I like the Warriors close. Yeah. They have more guys that have been here.
Exactly. Tim Tebow is officially a Jaguar. He signed his contract to play tight end today and is expected to join his teammates for off-season workouts. In a statement following the signing, Tebow thanked Jacksonville for giving him the opportunity to earn a spot in the team and said he is embracing the challenge ahead of him.
Talked about this. I'm not a traditionalist. I didn't go to church much as a kid, although I can appreciate it when I moved from the West Coast, where we just blow stuff up and build new stuff. And I went to the East Coast. I do think the old churches and the prep schools, the Hogwarts feel to it, I think it's awesome. Some of the places, you see some of the architecture, it's amazing. People have been sending their kids to camps for like 70 years out east. There's a lot of tradition I can appreciate. But when you listen to my show, I don't wax philosophic about the 50s and 60s in baseball. It's just not who I am. I'm not interested in it. I didn't grow up in that culture. So I don't fall in love with stuff that's happening now. I fall in like with everything with an eye on getting better. That's my personality. I think Joy and I kind of share that. And so I look at the Warriors dynasty. It's the second best team I've ever seen to Michael Jordan's Bulls. But I look at him now and I think Steph is way too good to just linger with Golden State. His contract's up in a year. He's a free agent next summer. I mean, let's be honest. He was easily the best player on the floor. He's 33, and his skills will age really well. Shoot and ball handle, be smart. Lakers threw everything at him. Totally ineffective as the best NBA defensive team. Totally ineffective. Draymond Green now, 41 minutes, 2 points. He's a liability on the floor offensively. Andrew Wiggins, good, but way too expensive. Klay Thompson's back, hasn't played in 2 years. James Wiseman's a rookie center, lost several years from even being a potential star, so his timeline does not line up with Steph's. The Clippers right now are a good team that would die for a leader. Hello. LeBron James getting old. You think it's a coincidence in the last 2 years LeBron's buddy with Steph Curry? See him talking last night? See him talking all the time? LeBron throwing bouquets at Steph Curry. Didn't used to. LeBron was a Westbrook guy. Now LeBron's like, oh, that's the MVP easily. You think this is just random? Come on now. LeBron's working it every day of the year. He's the best off-ball player in the league. He's the best scorer. He's the best ball handler. He may be the smartest or second smartest player. He's a free agent. By the way, it's not all doom and gloom for Golden State. They could get a ton for him. You could get an all-star or two for him and several draft picks. But if you look at the contracts next year between Klay, Draymond, Wiggins, and Steph, it's $139 million. You got to blow this team up. It's over. Marcus Thompson was on earlier this week. You can't live in the rearview mirror with the Warriors. It's over, and it's time to just dismantle this puppy.
We got to let go of that dynasty team for sure, right? This is post dynasty. This is Kobe after the Shaq Kobe years, right? And it's like, you got to recreate yourself. I think that's what Steph is doing. You got to reinvent it. I think a lot of people are clamoring to, hey, they won 3 championships. They had all these all-stars. They've got to reinvent themselves. Because keep in mind, these dudes are 30 now.
It's funny. In the NFL, we're seeing teams do this all the time now. They're just like, all right, do over. Draft a guy. All right, we're done. And we're like, it almost always works. I mean, Jared Goff gets to a Super Bowl 2 years later. We're done with that. And we're like, all right. And they paid him a lot. They still owe Jared Goff some money. The NBA has always been the progressive league. Like there's an old saying in sports. The NBA thinks of it first. Baseball makes the most money off it, and the NFL gets it right. But the NBA thinks of it first. This is not baseball where they're stuck in the mud. They want to. I mean, when I talk NBA, I don't ever talk George Mikan. Michael Jordan's about as far back as I go, and he's the best player of all time, and he's still a relevant person in the NBA. He owns a team. So I just look at this team, and I think, it's done. And Steph is you don't want him to become Bradley Beal, where you're like, bro, what are you doing? And Steph's got a lot of titles in him. I mean, I'm watching last night. He was so far and away the best player on the floor, totally controlled the game. I mean, he's just there. I mean, and I don't think it's a coincidence that LeBron has become his biggest fan in the last 2 years. He wasn't early in his career. He used to kind of roll his eyes at Steph. Now he's like, the best player in the world over there. Be a joy to play with it. What a player, Steph Curry. That's not a coincidence. But he may fit the Clippers better than the Lakers. And I'm not saying those are the only teams. Who wouldn't want Steph Curry? I mean, everybody wants Steph Curry. I mean, Phoenix would figure out a way to get him over there alongside Chris Paul and Devin Booker. Just bring him in. We'll figure it out. But what I don't want to see is athletes, because of tradition and loyalty, giving away championships. Steph's got like 4 left in him. He needs to be in 3 or 4 more finals here in the next 5 or 6 years. Joy with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
Loyalty.
There's no loyalty in business. There just isn't. And this